Excellencies, distinguished guests, good afternoon. My name is Atsuko Okuda, Regional Director of the ITU Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific. At the onset, I would like to thank the organizer to invite ITU to present ITU's initiatives at this very important event. As you know, ITU is the oldest UN agency specialized in information and communication technology. Let me begin the presentation with two distinctive features in our context which affect our efforts to digital transformation. One is the lingering effect of COVID-19 pandemic. Many countries are lifting gradually the COVID restrictions, but the economies are not recovering fast enough as we hoped. The second is the impact of the war in Ukraine. The UN Economic Commission for Asia and the Pacific recently published a policy brief which analyzed the cascading impact on the economy. The higher economic global commodity prices, weaker global demand, and higher economic uncertainty are translated into slower economic growth in red, wider fiscal deficit in gray, and higher financing costs in blue. Let us then dive into the COVID impact on fintech. The World Bank conducted a rapid assessment on the COVID impact in 2020. Based on the responses from about 1,400 fintech companies, services such as digital payments, digital asset exchange, and digital savings witnessed increases in terms of the volumes and transactions while expanding the customer base. The increases were more prominent among the countries where the COVID restrictions were more stringent. However, the report also highlighted that there were negative impacts in terms of the non-payments, defaults, and the dispute under COVID-19. Under the subcategory of digital payment, some services witnessed higher growth than others. These include digital remittances, money transfer, mobile money. In terms of the regions, the MENA countries registered the highest growth over other regions. One interesting findings of the report is that the majority of the respondents were interested to take part in the implementation of the various COVID relief and response packages and schemes. I believe that there is a scope and opportunities for fintech and digital payment services to be integrated into digital government and government financial support to businesses and citizens. However, the digital financial services may not be accessible and implemented in remote and rural areas where such services would benefit people most. Another World Bank report found that cash was the predominant mode of payment for agricultural products in developing countries. One reason could be lack of access to the internet and broadband services. As you know, ITU published its Facts and Figures 2021. Between 2019 and 2021, additional 782 million people used the internet, an increase of 17% because of COVID. As a result, the share of the world populations that has used the internet increased from 54% in 2019 to 63% in 2021. In 2020 alone, the growth in internet user was 10%, the largest increase in a decade. There are still, however, 2.9 billion people on the planet who has never gone online. The Asian Pacific and Arab regions share some of the common characteristics of the digital divide. The percentages of internet users are 61% in Asian Pacific and 66% in the Arab region. There are distinctive features such as rural and urban divide, gender divide, and generational gap. When more users are connected, they will have access to various financial services, which may not be available otherwise, and the fintech companies will have access to these new users. While 800 million people joined online, the COVID also impacted on affordability. According to a policy brief developed by ITU and Alliance for Affordable Internet, there are more countries where mobile and fixed services became unaffordable. As you know, the Broadband Commission considers 2% GDP per capita as a benchmark for affordability. While some countries newly achieved the benchmark in 2021, more countries failed to meet this requirement at the same time. This slide shows the changes in mobile and fixed broadband affordability compared to the previous years. Asia and the Pacific and Arab regions demonstrated more affordable mobile services in 2021, but fixed broadband services have become less affordable in many regions, which will affect how companies and end users access and benefit from various fintech services. It is not only the number of internet users and affordability which are important, but also the speed and quality. According to the same policy brief, Europe and high-income countries made the most progress in terms of the download speed for entry-level broadband baskets between 2020 and 2021, while the rest of the countries could do more. One of such measures could be the introduction of 5G services. According to a GSMA report, developed Asia, namely Australia, Japan, Singapore, and the Republic of Korea, is expected to adopt 5G in 64% of connections by 2025, and it is expected to enable the introduction and rollout of more advanced services. On this slide, I summarized the challenges along the 5 strategic pillars of the Arab Digital Economy Index. In the context of uncertainty, we would need to accelerate our COVID recovery efforts and achievement of SDGs. This may include connecting the unconnected making the broadband more affordable and promoting digital inclusion. At the same time, we could aim at accelerating digital innovation and supporting digital government and digital applications using a whole-of-government approach. We should also enhance and ensure cybersecurity measures for governments, businesses, and citizens. Now, I would like to share some of the initiatives ITU has been implementing in Asia and the Pacific to address the challenges. In the area of network and infrastructure, ITU has several tools and programs, as you see on the slide. We maintain the interactive transmission map highlighting the submarine and terrestrial cables and IXPs so that we know where and how a country is connected. With the support of Australia and Japan, we also promote resilient infrastructure and emergency telecommunication while advocating for the last mile connectivity. In addition, ITU has been supporting several countries with digital government and digital applications such as e-government, e-agriculture, digital finance, e-learning, and e-health. So what are the components of the smart villages and smart islands that will deliver the benefits to the citizens? We promote the development of common ICT building blocks within the government so that the common digital government functions and services such as national ID, payment, procurement support the entire government. As you know, ITU also publishes the Global Cybersecurity Index, which measures the cybersecurity commitments. The slide overlaid the average scores of Asia and the Pacific and Arab countries across 5 pillars. And the Arab region is ahead of Asia and the Pacific in legal and technical measures, but the shape looks similar and point to scope for opportunity for improvement. One of the concrete initiatives of ITU promoting cybersecurity is the DFS Security Lab. It was established for regulators, developers, and DFS providers to take the DFS mobile applications in a complex mobile ecosystem to provide a level of assurance on security measures against systemic vulnerability. In summary, I can see several opportunities for enhanced collaboration between Asia and the Pacific and Arab regions along the 5 strategic pillars of the Arab Digital Economy Index. These include promoting the targeted investment for connectivity, a whole-of-government approach, learning from each other, digital innovation, and we hope that these will all lead to the faster COVID recovery and achievement of SDGs. Thank you very much.